Hello, everybody. So, this week for class, we were asked to engage in the scientific method, and we were supposed to make an observation about human behavior that we found and make kind of an experiment about it, and then research some experiments that have been done about it. So, the observation that I have made about human behavior is, why do humans always just go with the group despite what they're actually thinking on their own? Like when humans are making, like when we know someone's making a wrong decision or a decision that we disagree with, we choose to just go with that idea anyway. Like when you kind of have like a controversial thought and you just kind of go with what the group says, so you're not the one who's like left out. Why do humans do that, and why do we do that, and why do we always try to conform to the ideas and fit in instead of just like be our own person? And do humans really do that? Like why? So my hypothesis that I made, like based off of this, is humans tend to make decisions based on what the majority of people around them decide, despite if they think it is right or wrong. So the way that I would personally test my hypothesis is I would get a group of people. I would be testing humans' desire for acceptance, and I would get all the people together, and before I get all of them together, I would give them like a piece of paper, and I'd have them answer a bunch of like yes or no questions that are kind of like could be on the controversial side. Like you don't want to be the one who disagrees with everyone because you don't want them to like think of you badly. So kind of some like deeper controversial questions, not just like do you like ice cream, yes or no, kind of more like things about, do you think this is right or wrong, like stuff like that, where it's kind of like more morals and like deeper thought questions, so that people really feel like, okay, I don't want to be the one who's going against what everyone else is saying. And then I would, after they answer all those questions on their own, I'd put them all in a group in a room together, and I would have them answer the questions out loud and say if they said yes or no. And I would see if anyone switched their answers from being in the group and then being on their own, if they went with the group instead of doing what they said originally. And then at the end, I would give them back the piece of paper and have them answer those questions again and see if they still answered what they did the first time, and if they still stick with their ideas despite what they said in the group, or if they actually did change their ideas. And my prediction based off of that experiment would be that some people would switch their answers based on what the majority is voting for. And some actual studies done on this idea of people conforming to like what society is doing is the ASH or ARC conformity experiments. So there was this guy named Solom Arc who wanted to see if people would react to social pressure from others even when they knew they were wrong. So how he did it was he got 50 males together and he had them do a line judgment test, and he had some people like in the experiment that were working for the experiment and like would purposely choose the wrong answer, and then he had the rest of the people go after the people who were like purposely choosing the wrong answers to see if they would change what they were saying based off of what all of the other people were saying, and see if they would also choose the wrong answer even though they knew that there was a right answer and they could clearly see the right answer, but it's just to see like if they would choose the wrong one just despite what they knew because of what everyone else was doing. And the results that he did get from this test was he qualitatively measured the number of times each participant conformed to the majority of views. So on average, about 1/3, so 32% of the participants who were placed in this situation went along and conformed with the clearly incorrect majority on the critical trials. In over 12 of the critical trials, about 75% of the participants conformed at least once, and 25% of participants never conformed. And a small number of the participants were highly susceptible, and about 5% of participants conformed all 12 trials, going along with the group every single time. So there were 12 people in the throughout the entire experiment that just went with the group every single time, no matter what, whether they were right or wrong. So in conclusion of all of this, I think that we can conclude that individuals do conform to pressure, whether it's right or wrong, and we just don't want to be the odd ones out, and we don't want to feel left out or like we're alone in that situation, or feel like we are going to be like feeling stupid or silly for picking the other answer that other people aren't picking. And yeah, that is my experiment and hypothesis that I decided to research.